Hey guys, it's Joey.
And Brendan.
And this is Trailer Trash, your weekly movie trailer and trailer trivia podcast where we discuss recently released trailers and play some trivia. So since this is the first episode of our podcast, I thought we'd give some background information, some general information, in the hopes that you learn more about us going along. Brendan and I are both college students in Northern California who enjoy movies, and as part of the work we do on our newspaper staff, we've also done some movie coverage for Oscars and whatnot. Along with us on this podcast is our friend Cassie, who is also a college student. She's in the corner there. Cassie, say hi.
Hi.
And she's going to be taking some notes for us.
In the corner where she belongs.
In the corner where she belongs.
Very clearly.
I guess some of the things we have planned for you guys, we have a couple planned segments, but you never know what's actually going to happen. We kind of had the idea of reviewing some movies we'd seen in the recent past first, and then going into breaking down some trailers, which we watched just prior to the podcast. There's a segment about Brendan, who has kept a log of movies he's seen since 2012.
Yes, I have.
In a notebook.
January 1st. That was my New Year's resolution that year. And boy, has it worked out for the better.
Because he doesn't that much.
Wow.
So we're going to pick a date at random, or pick a day that we do the podcast and do like a Facebook memory, kind of see what he thought about what movie he saw that day. And then at the end, I think we're gonna do some trivia based on either the trailers themselves or on the movies we've seen recently and whatnot. So, without further ado, let's move into the first segment, movie reviews. So, Brendan, what did you see recently?
The last thing I watched was Bone Tomahawk.
Great film.
It was fine. Let's calm down.
Sir.
You've also seen it recently, yes?
I've seen it multiple times, yes.
Tell me, what'd you think, just as a whole?
Overall, I liked it. I think it deserves whatever rating it has. It has a high 80s rating, I believe, on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the cast was great. I think it was a story that you don't see a lot of, the storyline and the way they did it. And I appreciated the Tombstone and Hills Have Eyes mashup. And, of course, Richard Jenkins was a real gem.
Okay, I liked it as a whole. I don't normally like Westerns, is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess your classic kind of Western.
Like a Tombstone.
Sure. It was predictable to me. You knew what was going to happen.
I would say
it's a rescue story, and you know the rescue's going to happen. Personally,
okay,
feel like
so then I feel like this movie is more about the journey than the destination. And I feel like the in-between parts, if you know...
That was poetic.
If you know that there's going to be a rescue, and you kind of figure out it's already going to happen, then what you're looking for is what happens in between. And I think what led up to a conclusion, no spoilers we're saying here, then I think with the in-between bits were really great.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So, Kurt Russell's in this. Richard Jenkins, as you said. Patrick Wilson is also the main lead. I don't know who directed it.
Yeah, me neither.
Whatever.
It was great.
It was great.
It was released, I believe, December 10th in China.
That's the target market. They like that kind of stuff.
It was. I watched it on Comcast a couple weeks after. So obviously it didn't do either really well in theaters, or it just they planned on having it go to VOD. Rather quickly, but I bought it on there and I've seen it twice since.
Now, gruesomeness wise, it's very gruesome at certain points, but I like it because I feel like it's real.
Yeah, it's
now,
not
I
exaggerated.
know you don't enjoy blood in movies typically,
right?
Or excessive blood,
and I don't feel like they did gore, but they didn't do a bloody gore. It was more understated gore, except for, obviously some certain parts.
The scene where the man was vertically... what's a good word here?
I mean, I guess you could
Assaulted.
say it's split in half,
Okay.
But I would think that's spoilers.
Ah,
Are we not worried about spoilers? We're not worried about
Whatever.
spoilers. You
It's
guys,
fine.
It came out a long time ago. You guys should have seen it by now. If not, there's something wrong with you people.
if anyone's going to listen to a movie podcast and not expect to be spoiled about something...
Yeah.
Then you're listening to the wrong podcast. Am I right, Cassie?
You like American Horror Story or whatever it is. So how do you not like blood?
I don't like a realistic blood. American Horror Story, if you're speaking of hotel, in the first couple episodes when they have the orgy scene and blood everywhere, that's not a realistic blood to me. That's more of a cinematic blood. But they could have gone in like a direction, like a Tarantino direction,
Where it's over the top.
It's not so over the top. It doesn't seem realistic. Like Kill Bill, all that seems realistic. But I love Kill Bill. It just depends on the movie. It depends on the context. When the guy Patrick Wilson broke his leg and Richard Jenkins was trying to set it with a hammer,
Oh, that was great.
they cut away. But I think if it went any farther than that, it would have irked me a little. But no, I think overall it was pretty great. I would go so far as to suggest at least an Oscar nom for Best Supporting Actor, Richard Jenkins. I know you don't agree with me on that.
I don't feel that way, and I wouldn't say that anyone deserves any kind of a nom for this movie, but if we're ranking the actors, I would say Patrick Wilson's performance is the best, and maybe it's just because if we're not spoiling it, how much are we spoiling it?
So you know what? Spoiler alert.
Okay, so it's his wife that we're going after.
Correct.
Or that he and the sheriff and his backup
deputy.
Yeah, backup deputy are going for. So he's generally going to be the most emotional person, and he's also has a broken leg. So
right. I think. Do you feel like you thought that his performance was the best based on the fact that you haven't really seen him in anything or liked him in anything much before? And this was a surprise to you, or do you actually thought he acted the best?
Generally, I like everything he's in, but he doesn't ever make me go, wow.
Right.
He was particularly great in this, right?
I thought Kurt Russell was kind of like a later years, or whatever character he played in Tombstone, like a later years version of that.
Sure, and I think Kurt Russell's kind of the same thing and everything. I would expect his character in this to be exactly the same as it is in Hateful Eight, I would imagine. I feel like it'd be the exact same person.
Yeah, I think he was a little more. He probably is a little more reserved in this movie than in the Hateful Eight, just based on the fact that it's Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So it was nice.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a fun watch. You're gonna have to deal with a little bit of gore. If that's your thing, then that's cool. But for me, award-wise, probably not. But it's it's just a fun watch.
Yeah, I mean, I would not shrug at a cinematography nom, at least for maybe not Oscars, but I guess the Golden Globes have already come out. By the way, we're taping this on January 6th.
Yeah.
So in a few days, there is the Golden Globes hosted by, oh my God, who was it?
Isn't it Mel Gibson?
Yeah, Mel Gibson for some reason is hosting the Golden Globes.
Well, it's him. It's him and someone else. It's who is it?
Some chick.
Yeah, some chick.
So it's Mel Gibson and some chick, and they're gonna host the Golden Globes.
Yes. I don't know how that's gonna go.
It only matters
That's
when
be fine.
Mel Gibson is
So, and anyway, what do you give Bone Tomahawk out of 5 stars?
I give it a solid 4.
Okay. I would give it. It depends on what we're talking about. Movie as a whole,
Yeah.
4.5. But like Richard Jenkins, 5 stars.
Okay, we can talk a little Richard Jenkins here.
Okay, let's talk some Richard Jenkins.
While he is great, background in the character, he's the backup deputy. He's Kurt Russell's right hand man.
Yeah. Old guy, hunched over a lot.
He's what? Let's say he's like 60 in real life. 65.
Richard Jenkins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He plays someone, I don't know, maybe 10 years older than he actually is.
It would seem as though.
Yeah. And he's very
witty.
He's witty, but he's calm about everything.
He's like an understated comic.
And every movie needs something like this, but he's kind of the comedic relief.
Yeah.
Which
I would have thought that if you're talking about the end, I would have thought that he would have died. I thought he was gonna be the one to go. And that's why
you knew it was gonna be someone.
And that's why I talk about the journey being
right.
to being more important than destination. It's the rescue film. There's probably gonna be a rescue at the end.
Right. So you think he is Oscar worthy?
Yes.
Now, my contention to that is that he was the same person throughout the entire story, throughout the entire movie. He didn't have any emotional peak whatsoever.
I think
Peaks
he
and
did.
valleys.
I think there was a scene at the end of the movie when they were held captive by the I don't know the captors. It's a classic.
Let's call them the desert people.
It's a classic cowboys versus Indians kind of thing, but they were very careful. The writers were to not make it Indians. They're careful to make them like a mixed breed, inbred clan. So it was kind of distance themselves from racial epithets or sympathies. But so they were held captive by them at the end, and there was a scene where the movie takes a time out, and Richard Jenkins talks about a flea circus and how he and his wife, who's dead in the film, enjoyed it and how he thought it was real and stuff. And I thought that was a poignant moment in a place where something horrible had just happened.
While I agree that is a poignant moment, every time he speaks, it's because he's trying to be witty or crack some kind of a joke or just talk about something. And the characters in the movie are telling him to shut up a couple times because sometimes he's just going off about random stuff.
Well, I feel like that kind of attitude is what got that character to be as old as he is on the frontier. To be witty, he was oftentimes defensive to Kurt Russell's character.
And look, I like the character. I just don't think it's Oscar worthy in any sense. Mm-hmm. I like Richard Jenkins. I like the character. But,
who also was pretty good, who I wasn't expecting to be good, was Matthew Fox, who played I guess he was the educated gentleman, John Bruder. Matthew Fox played the lead in Lost for the 7 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't know.
Yeah. So he was pretty good. He was kind of hoity-toity, but he played the role pretty good.
Right. He's one of those characters that you kind of hate.
Yep.
Because of how he acts, but he's necessary.
He's the anti-hero.
Yeah.
That's to some degree.
Him and his mustache. Him and his beautiful mustache.
Everybody, Kurt Russell.
Him and his beautiful
the most
mustache
amazing,
and his German.
The most amazing mustache on Kurt Russell, which I don't know if he grew for this movie or for Hateful Eight.
I feel like he just walks around with it.
No, he grew that for one of these movies, and I can't remember which.
If I could rock that in everyday life, I think I would.
I think he does too, but I think he grew it.
He did grow it. It is, in fact, coming out of his face.
No. That's a prop.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Bone Tomahawk we liked. Do we want to talk about, like I say, a Star Wars?
Star Wars.
I saw that again last night.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay.
No, night before last.
What'd you think of it the second time? Compared to the first?
Compared to the first, I have a problem with Daisy Ridley.
Oh, God. Because you think she looks like Keira Knightley.
Because she had the same lower face as Keira Knightley. And if you don't believe me, watch that movie again and think of Keira Knightley.
Joey has this thing where he hates certain actors and actresses.
I don't hate anybody.
Talk about Emma Stone. Just throw it out there.
Emma Stone is one.
I don't like the way Emma Stone's mouth moves when she talks. I loved her in Birdman. I just don't like the way her mouth moves when she talks, and I would rather not watch an Emma Stone
As a
film.
general rule of thumb, anyone Joey doesn't like has not ever been in a good movie. As a
No,
general rule
I
of
just
thumb,
said Birdman was a good movie,
That's just because you really
Great
like
movie.
that one.
and she was in it,
But it
and
doesn't
her
matter.
mouth did things I didn't like.
So if Daisy Ridley doesn't end up in the best picture of the year soon, Joey will never like anything Daisy Ridley's ever in because
I
she looks like Keira Knightley.
I don't. That's not my only problem with her. The fact that she looks like Keira Knightley from the mouth, from the chin up to the nose.
Is there a reason you don't like Keira Knightley?
I do like Keira Knightley. My problem is that there's a lot of stuff going along with ageism in Hollywood, and Keira Knightley could have played that part. Let's just say in the grand scheme of things, Keira Knightley could have played that part, but they went and found somebody who got the same accent, kinda, not really the same accent, but a British accent nonetheless, who looks like her and is much younger.
I don't think the point was to try and find someone that was
And I don't
like
think
her.
the point is either. It's just in my head
Uh-huh.
that she looks like Keira Knightley and she's young. She's a young Keira Knightley. Now doesn't take away at all from the movie. There are other things I don't like about her. She runs weird. But
Oh my God.
I think that I'm a nitpicky person, but I think that the movie on the whole was great. I had no problem with the movie.
I liked it a lot. Now, you haven't seen any of the prequels, though.
I have. I've seen every one of them.
Well, I mean, like, recently.
No, not recently.
Okay.
I think I saw Phantom Menace in the theaters.
So
and then
before we went to watch Force Awakens, which is the only time I've seen it, I watched in the week or so previous.
we watched it on the 28th of December.
Right. So in the week or so previous, I watched 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, 3, within the span of 2.5, 3 days.
So you watched them out of order.
I watched them in the order they were released in theaters, which I figure that's the order that everyone would have seen them in as they're being released. So I figured that would just be the best way to go.
But you generally will watch prequels before the actual movie. If you're going to do a series.
I would have liked, in retrospect, to do that.
If you were going to watch Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, you'd watch Hobbit first series and then Lord of the Rings
I
series.
don't know that I could get through the Hobbit movies without falling asleep, but sure.
But yes.
Okay.
But you could stay awake during Lord of the Rings.
Yes, those. Let's not do that now.
Okay, so back to your point. You watched all 6 of them in the week leading up to the movie,
and I feel like it made me like Force Awakens more than if I would have just watched it without having seen the previous movies in a long time. I don't know that I've even seen all 6, previously to when I
binged them.
I mean, like I remember like Attack of the Clones or whatever. I didn't remember any of that happening. Like I remembered bits and pieces of a lot of them. But
did you watch the Clone Wars as well?
No, I've never seen Clone Wars. Yeah, I'm good.
Anyway, so what did you think about the movie itself? Not as part of a series, but as a standalone movie.
It's everything you would want from a Star Wars movie. People keep saying that it's just like the first one, which to me is
like episode 1 or episode 4.
I assume that would be 4.
Okay, like the very first one released.
And I don't necessarily see a problem with that. I mean, it's been what?
You're talking about
almost 40 years.
You're talking about like the planet laser beam and the.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they have like
for.
very similar plot devices and they follow a similar structure, right? But I loved it, and I think I probably loved it more than you. It would seem, but I feel like people go into something as big as this and just nitpick every single.
Oh, it's such a nerdy thing to do.
Teens of it, because because it's such a big universe.
You've been waiting.
It's like the biggest movie series ever, right? So everyone's just gonna.
I would not know if ever. I think Lord of the Rings is probably, especially with like Oscars. Lord of the Rings.
I'm just talking about general popularity.
Yeah, like, I think it's more of a cult following than the biggest gross. I mean, obviously this movie is gonna be,
I don't think you understand what cult following means.
Well, I think it's more of like people like it for the series more than it's a great series that's like one of the best. I think it's a good series, but I think people like it more because they're Star Wars fans.
Right.
Than the Trekkies, who probably like they're not that they're the best movies ever, but they're Star Trek movies.
Right.
People like that. Like I would say that the Hobbit series and the Lord of the Rings series is much better than the Star Wars series.
Okay, well, I mean, I haven't seen the Hobbit movies. The first one was so boring, and I just can't do it. But anyway,
I've yet to see the last one, the Battle of Five Armies. I own it. I just haven't seen it.
Well, anyway, so yes, I am a Star Wars fan, but I'm not like in tune to that universe as like it's not like in my blood. You know what I mean?
Right. You weren't sitting there nitpicking everything.
Right. So I enjoyed it for what it was. One of the things I noticed in this one, probably more than the other ones, is there's blood in this one, which there weren't in any of them. So they tried to make it a little more real and I guess a little more gritty, which I appreciated.
Okay. I also thought that the first scene was kind of hokey with the blood on the hand suit.
I thought so too, but I think they only did it to identify him from the crowds because they all look the same, right? So
I thought a more smeary thing would have been better, but well, whatever. I'm not in the business of making movies. Call me.
Okay. So what do you think of John Boyega?
I thought he was good. I thought he was a little. He flitted around a little much. I think he was a little too comical.
Okay.
That I would have liked in that role. You know, he's kind of this secondary main character who is, joking a lot. Like, there's a difference between the way he joked and the way that Richard Jenkins' character joked. It was more like a modern day, contemporary, like, I don't know how the kids talk these days.
Sure. And much like Han Solo, everything out of his mouth is a joke, though, too.
Well, that's also the way this character's been cultivated for the last 6 movies.
Sure.
But
this is how they're choosing to cultivate.
Yeah,
Mr.
And I would have gone a different direction. Not a completely different direction. I think he did a fine job. I don't understand why he couldn't keep his British accent.
Have you read the books?
No, we have not read the books. This is America.
I'm just saying that maybe the books influence some of that.
Anyway, so there's a theory going around that Rey, who is the main character, played by Daisy Ridley, who has Keira Knightley's mouth, that she is actually the center of the entire series, not just this movie, as the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that's the reason why she has a British accent and no other characters do other than Obi-Wan Kenobi, because John Boyega is British, so I don't understand why he couldn't be British if Daisy Ridley could be British, unless that is the actually the truth about the fan theory.
Yeah, since I don't know anything about it, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you want to know more, there's a great article about how Rey is Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter.
There's books, I mean.
We'll promise next time Cassie's not going to talk so much.
this is so difficult for her, probably.
Yeah, right. She's sitting on her hands. She's rocking a little bit. I think her eye twitched. In any case, I would say I give that movie. I still give the movie a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I'd give it that too. I have a problem with giving any movie a 5, just because.
Yeah.
5 to me is totally perfect, and I feel like that's not something you can achieve.
Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good, and I wouldn't say it was a 5. I'm not counting in my problem with Daisy Ridley, because that's my problem. I'm counting more on the hokey blood in the beginning, and John Boyega's character Finn, kind of being too aloof.
I'm really excited to see where it goes, though.
Yeah,
because how it ended, I could have watched. If the movie started right there, I could have just watched another 2.5 hours.
I would assume the next movie is going to pick up right there.
I would assume that as well.
And so, what do you think? Have you heard the release dates for the next? Is there one every year?
I believe it's one every year, but there'll be a couple spin-offs in like the off years or whatever you want to call it. So while 8 might come out next year, like the year after that will be the Boba Fett spin-off or whatever,
okay.
And then 9 will come out the year after that, like something like that.
Right.
And none of them are Abrams again. I think Abrams is done.
Oh, I think that's a mistake. I think he did a good job with this. There was the whole light bleeds or light lens flares that he used that I liked. He didn't do it too much. He did it just so you know who was doing it.
I think episode 8 is gonna be Rian Johnson, who did Looper.
I like Looper.
And I can't remember what else he's done, but he has a good pedigree at least.
Yeah.
But so there you go.
Like my Golden Labs.
It's so bright, reflecting off the ground.
Cassie thought she would just interject and mention that outside my house there is a light on the ground that it's so bright.
It's headlights. It's reflecting. It's raining. It's
Cassie,
bright.
you're also getting a phone
In my
call
face.
right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
too.
Jesus, Cassie, your phone's ringing. You're interrupting. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
No, not you. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now we want to transition into another segment where we have just watched some trailers and we want to break them down for you guys.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the main segment. In fact, we named our podcast after it.
Yeah, trailer trash, trailer trash,
Named
trailer
Joey's mom.
Oh my god.
trailers.
What about Joey's mom?
Actually, little known fact: the name of the podcast came up from a conversation we had with Cassie, where we figured out that
You live in the same trailer park I do.
they don't need to know that, Cassie. I don't need to be embarrassed like that.
Jotham.
Anyway, the first one we watched, I guess we want to go in order of release date. So, coming out in 2 days, which is probably before this podcast is uploaded to wherever we're going to upload it to.
The internet.
The internet.
Right.
Interweb.
Is Diablo, which is rated R. It's starring Scott Eastwood, Camilla Bell, Walton Goggins. I even wrote that down.
How dare you?
But I was thinking maybe I wrote it down wrong.
How dare you?
Walton Goggins.
Boyd
and,
will be so disappointed.
Danny Glover is also in this film. Directed by Lawrence Roke. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Who also directed The Forger in 2012 with Peter Malark.
Peter!
Anyway, so what that movie is about, it's about a... Jesus. Sometimes you just can't handle them. Diablo, synopsis from IMDb. A young Civil War veteran is forced on a desperate journey to save his kidnapped wife. So after seeing this, I think it's very reminiscent of a Bone Tomahawk. It's kind of the Wild West, although it's kind of it's after Civil War, but it kind of feels like that the same kind of thing going on where he has to go find his wife.
It's a Western, so I'm generally uninterested.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Scott Eastwood, by the way, Clint's son.
Oh my god,
Failed
I
to mention
never.
that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God, I never connected those two.
Right?
Walton Goggins plays what is perpetually the villain, according to the trailer.
Is he ever not?
Sometimes he's the anti-hero,
Okay.
like in Justified. He plays Ezra, the bad guy Ezra.
Ezra the bad guy. That's
Ezra
an
the bad
interesting
guy.
cast.
It
name.
actually says that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I'm lying. Anyway, it looks pretty decent. We'll see how Scott Eastwood's chops live up to his dad. I think he's been in other movies so far, but this is the first one that
I don't remember him in anything off the
Longest
top of my
Ride.
head. But
according to Cassie, he was in The Longest Ride. So
which is
Oh, so
That's
it sounds
correct.
Like he wrote
it
both.
says he was in Fury as well as Gran Torino. He must have had a cameo in Gran Torino.
did he play the Gran Torino?
He was the Gran Torino.
Uh.
He embodied it. In any case, I would estimate that movie would be about 3.5 stars for me. It looked decent enough for what he can probably provide. Scott.
So,
anyway.
just to put this out there, how we're rating it is how we think we would rate the movie upon seeing
Yep.
it based on that trailer.
The plan for all of this is to actually see these movies that we talk about trailer segment,
Unfortunately,
and then come back and kind of with the Bone Tomahawk and Star Wars. This is the first episode, so we didn't have any.
wait, this is the first episode.
Yeah, you might not have noticed with Cassie interacting and everything. But anyway, so yeah, we didn't have any content, so we decided to talk about movies we just seen. But ideally, we'll get to a point where these movies will come out and they will be the fodder for the first segment.
Ooh, fodder, good word.
Which is why we did the rating system like that, so that way, ideally, that movie will be a 3 to 3.5 star movie after we watch it. For me, anyway.
I'm gonna go trash on this one.
Trash, yeah.
Trash, I would consider like 2 or lower.
Yeah. Brendan is not a Western person. And I guess,
Other than Bone Tomahawk, apparently.
other than Bone Tomahawk, which you liked. But, whatever. So moving on. So the next movie that is going to be released either in a month or something, but I guess what's good. February 5th is Misconduct. That Misconduct is a R-rated movie starring Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, and Josh Duhamel. And also in the movie is Julia Stiles, Malin Ackerman, and Alice Eve. According to IMDb, that is a movie about an ambitious young lawyer taking on a big case against a powerful and ruthless executive of a large pharmaceutical company. He soon finds himself involved in a case of blackmail and corruption. So that pharmaceutical guy would be Anthony Hopkins. Josh Duhamel would be the lawyer. And it just seems it's kind of like a psychological thriller, it seems. What do you think about it?
I cannot take Josh Duhamel? Dunhamel.
I think it's Duhamel.
Duhamel?
I believe it's Duhamel. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Disclaimer, I'm probably wrong.
I cannot take him seriously as an actor. And it seems like above Pacino and Hopkins, he's the lead.
Yes.
Um,
He probably has more screen time than the other ones.
right. I can't take him seriously. He belongs in bad rom-coms to me, which is what he does a lot of.
Okay.
Um,
I would argue his movie Fire with Fire was pretty great.
I'm only going
In which
on
he
things
played-
I've seen.
I think he was a firefighter who,
That's interesting.
I think he was with Rosario Dawson, I believe, 2012. Yeah, and Bruce Willis. I thought that was a pretty great movie. I think he did a good job. He's done other things. Comedy, I think, suits him. I would not count him as the weak link here. I'd count Al Pacino, according to the trailer, anyway.
There are a lot of people that can go from action to comedy somewhat seamlessly. There isn't really anyone coming off the top of my head right now. I mean, Gerard Butler does it a lot. I don't know if he's good at it. But
Jamie Foxx,
you sure? I guess. Yeah.
John Krasinski.
Bruce
taking a
Willis.
swing at it.
John Krasinski. Yeah.
Red.
okay.
Red is a pretty great movie.
Bruce Willis is kind of just, I don't
Bruce
know.
Willis
They're
is
like
comedy
action
and
comedies,
action at
though.
the same
Yeah.
time.
Hey, what was your point?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
My point was that not a lot of people can do it seamlessly, and I don't even think Josh Duhamel is particularly great in any comedies that he's in, and I don't know that.
Oh, he was in the one with what's her bucket? With the kid, they had to take care of the kid.
Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, Katherine Heigl. What was it called?
I don't know. Their friends died.
Oh,
Yeah,
him,
their friends-
him,
the-
yeah,
the
him,
friends
Katherine
died.
Heigl, and Gerard Butler they all do things together.
Yeah,
All their
I
movies
think
are-
he did a good job, and I would, like I said, I would count Al Pacino as the weak link. I mean, there are other people. Julia Stiles, I love Julia Stiles, but she is definitely hot and cold with me. She's either great or she's really bad, and I think she was really bad in Jason Bourne. whatever
Malin
Bourne
Ackerman I
movie
like
was.
a lot. Pacino's got his wild, crazy hair.
Yeah.
Which is just getting worse, I think, every movie that he's in now. He's just like that crazy guy, I guess, in every
Mhm.
movie, which is fine. The director for this, Shintaro Shimosawa,
Allegedly.
who allegedly, in looking it up, it didn't seem like that he had directed anything in the
Just this?
past. So yeah, it looks like this is his directorial debut. He's written The Grudge,
In the Grudge too.
and The Grudge 2, and I guess was a co-producer on it. So,
He's in some Smallville episode, and
Yeah.
he's done some TV work, but I think most people would recognize his writing from The Grudge, which is a decent movie in its own. I didn't watch the sequel.
So to get a cast like this for a directorial debut, I think should speak to the director and the quality of the script and all that. So,
although there is nothing really to back him up other than his other supporting work behind the scenes. According to IMDb, anyway, he does not have any other directorial
right.
contributions.
And although he's written before, the preview to me seemed like every line that was said was very obvious. It was very to the point, and it was just telling everything that was happening as it was happening. It didn't leave anything to the imagination.
See, I think that's to me that was not the case. I think I watched that trailer and I was able to figure out which pieces were actually before certain other scenes, like in the actual movie. Like the trailer is not chronological according to the movie, and there are some things that I noticed that were part of an earlier scene, probably in the beginning, that didn't really have anything to do with what came after a dramatic moment in the trailer. That's the way they made the trailer.
I think Joshy Boy's just gonna be running around a lot.
Yes, Joshy Boy.
A little breathless. Not really much going on. Oh
His
my God,
nickname
they
in high
framed-
school,
They framed me.
Little Breathless.
Little Breath is Johnny Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that will also be about a 3.5-star movie. I love myself some Anthony Hopkins, and he looks like he's gonna be great. He's gonna be the same Anthony Hopkins he is all the time, but I love that Anthony Hopkins.
I'll put it at 3.
Have you seen Fracture? I think that was also
believe I have.
Ryan
I
Gosling.
don't remember it at all, though.
It was pretty great in that movie. Anyway, so the third movie, the last movie we're going to talk about trailer-wise, is The Nice Guys. Comes out, what is that, April 6th this year. It stars Russell Crowe, Matt Bomer, Ryan Gosling, and Kim Basinger. And tell them what's about, Brennan.
Well, I figured you'd pull the synopsis up.
Oh, sure. I have the synopsis right here, if you give me a second. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't write that down.
Wait, we already did this one.
What?
Did we not? Oh, sorry. Wow.
What's happening?
Okay. Okay, so the synopsis for this movie is not really anything you understand from the trailer. So the synopsis says a private eye investigates the apparent suicide of a fading porn star in 1970s Los Angeles and uncovers a conspiracy. But if you watch the trailer, it does not. There's no mention of a porn industry. There's no mention of a suicide. There's just a missing girl that Russell Crowe, who is this, I would call him a bruiser for hire, who then hires a former victim of his, who was a PI, Ryan Gosling, to find this girl, this daughter of someone who works in the Department of Justice.
They, in a
played
unique
by
way,
Kim
become
Basinger.
buddies,
Right.
or they have to work together in that fashion.
Correct.
And they have a job to do.
Yep. It's pretty. It looks like it's gonna be pretty quirky and kooky.
It seems like that's going to come from Gosling mostly.
Yeah, according from the trailer anyway. It's got good music in the trailer, funky 70s music.
Do you like that period
Of music?
of, like movies set in the 70s? I mean,
I
like modern movies set in the 70s.
I don't like an American Hustle.
We all know you love American Hustle.
American Hustle is the worst movie made of all time. But no, I don't really like that era. I mean, I know you like the 20s, don't like westerns.
Yeah, maybe not so much, but the 20s, 40s, that kind of whole.
I'm kinda-
what area do you call that?
I like the music of the 70s, and so a lot of times the soundtrack or the certain songs in the movies will play better for me. But I think that a lot of the 70s movies are overact. They're a little too kooky.
I think a lot
Too
of
aloof.
a lot of period.
Spooky time.
Yeah, a lot of period movies seem to overdo it, but none of us would really know.
Right. We're all under 30. Just so you guys know.
Some of us way under.
Anyway, this movie is directed by Shane Black, who directed Iron Man 3 and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He also worked on the screenplay. I'm not sure if he did it by himself or worked in a group for Lethal Weapon.
And two, right? I thought.
I think more than one, but maybe not. I wrote down that I thought that movie would be it's like a 70s Shanghai Noon.
Oh, and by the way, this trailer we watched for this was a Red Band trailer,
That's correct.
which means that it has like swearing and blood and things.
Boobies.
And boobies in it. Right.
In the description of this, wherever we post it, we'll try to put the links to these trailers and any other relevant information we think you guys like.
So the one note I wrote down for this is that it doesn't seem like it's going to tell a particularly great story. I think it's going to be very, like a lot of the other ones, predictable.
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be a fun enough ride to where audiences will be entertained, but it's not going to challenge anyone's
Right.
whatever
Right.
thought, I guess.
All you're doing, you're just sitting back and watching Ryan Gosling
Yeah.
pretend to act for a while.
When you got the goose and you got the crow, you got a good
Honestly, Ryan
movie.
Gosling.
Okay, so Cassie would like to know why I do not like Ryan Gosling. It's not like I don't like Ryan Gosling.
You know,
I-
that's how you start.
I
Hold on.
shy.
Hold on.
You just said you hate him.
Hold on. Before,
Uh-huh.
when someone tried like Keira Knightley, you'll be like, "It's not like I don't like Keira Knightley."
And I don't not like
Really,
Keira
it's
Knightley.
because you don't like her.
No, I have no problem with Keira Knightley.
I have no problem with
I
her.
don't. She's not my problem. My problem with Daisy Ridley.
Oh my god.
Anyway, I don't. It's not like I don't like Ryan Gosling. I just shy away from his movies. I think, and I don't really have a right to say that because I don't really watch a lot of Ryan Gosling movies. But
You have not seen Drive.
I have
What
not
was the
seen
movie
Drive.
that ruined it for you?
Honestly, I
It's usually
think
promoted.
that Ryan Gosling, in my own perception of the way he is, I think he's skating a lot on The Notebook. Like that got him so much success and so much notoriety that he either doesn't try or he was never really that good of an actor.
I personally disagree.
I
I think that put him in the limelight, but I was looking it up because I know he had a year where he had
Remember the Titans.
like a bunch of great stuff out. So in 2011, he had Ides of March.
Yeah.
He had Drive and he had Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah.
And I think it showed a lot of depth, and they all came out in the same year, and all the women love him. And I think it rose him to stardom.
Right. I think every once in a while he'll put out a movie and it really is just because he's Ryan Gosling that people like it, I think he floats a lot on
Now,
notoriety.
I'll say since then, I don't think he's done anything that's been super noteworthy. Now, I haven't seen The Big Short, which just came out, which has a lot of Oscar buzz around it.
Right.
But between 11 and 15, there isn't a whole lot. Place Beyond the Pines was all right.
Yeah. I mean, he was in Fracture. He was the lead in Fracture along
Right.
with Anthony Hopkins. He did a good job there. Like I said, I don't like him. I just shy away from his movies. And he kind of seemed too silly in this trailer for me to take him seriously.
Right.
I don't think you were supposed to take him seriously.
Okay.
That was the point.
Thanks for the contribution. Yeah, I mean, I would think that it would be the point to take every character seriously, just no matter how much seriousness. It is supposed to be taken seriously as a comedic character. You're supposed to take everyone seriously, but do you think it's supposed to be a solemn character or a comedic character? It's definitely seems like it's going to be more of a comedic movie.
So you're saying you're not taking him seriously as a comedic character in this?
Usually are his
no.
best roles.
I think that he's too comedic. I think I could respect his role as a comedic actor. I just don't want it to be too comedic, and I think it doesn't suit the type of movie. They're going into the mob, and people are dying in the trailer, and he's they're just being too quirky with it. And I think,
Russell Crowe, by the way, put on his best beer belly for this movie.
Yeah, he also sounds like Sylvester
Been wearing
Stallone.
it for a while.
Just so you guys know, that movie is in the crime mystery thriller genre, not the comedy drama or comedy thriller.
According to this, but
Comedy
whatever.
crime, according to IMDb. I mean, what
Comedy-
do they know?
Comedy crime. Huh?
I mean, watch the trailer, people. They're trying to be funny. The first 5 seconds of that movie, you hear him scream like
All
a little
right.
baby.
All right, what's your score? What you got?
I think Nice Guys overall will be about a 3-star movie. I think the music's gonna pull it up for me.
I go 3.5.
Okay, well that's where you're wrong.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll get back with the next segment here. We're going to do some trivia. We'll find out some stuff about the people in these movies, or maybe not. Alrighty, we're back, and we're going to do some trivia. So a little background here. Months and months and months ago, Brendan and I started this thing where he would just randomly rattle off, from IMDb mostly, some trivia questions, and
I
I
used to play at Willie's Bagels.
yeah. Cassie just interrupted me again. Essentially, he would just log on and say, how tall is this person, or what Oscars have they won, or whatever.
Right.
So we just thought that we would bring that to the podcast and
To
have
the
some fun with
masses.
it. Yeah.
To the millions of listeners.
So here we go. So Brendan, this is your segment. You take it away.
So I've written actual questions for this.
Oh, I want to interject for a second. Cassie's also going to play with me against Brendan.
I'm a
So
Okay.
maybe the both
like
of us
I
can
did
win.
at Willie's Bagels
Alrighty, here we go, Brendan.
Wow, free plug.
every Friday.
Willie's Bagels on Brentwood Boulevard.
All right. Ryan Johnson, who will be the director of episode 8,
Okay.
has also directed Brick, The Brothers Bloom, and Looper.
Okay.
What critically acclaimed TV show did he also direct 3 episodes of? And I have 3 choices here.
Okay.
House of Cards, Breaking Bad, Fargo.
Breaking Bad.
I would say Breaking Bad based on his the track record.
Final answer.
Locked in.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is correct.
Ding 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 ding. What's the
Alright.
score there, Brendan?
What's the score?
Yeah.
You have 1 question right.
Oh, good.
Out of 1.
Oh, goody.
Oh my
100%.
Okay.
Next.
Number
Basically
2. I have 5 movies that this particular actor or actress has been in.
Correct.
I will name them one at a time.
Okay.
And you can guess them whenever you get it.
Sure.
The first movie is Stretch.
Okay.
I don't
Any
even-
answers?
Nope.
Okay.
Keep going. We'll
don't even
stop
know
you.
that.
Our second movie.
Did he just click a pen?
Yeah.
I did just click a pen.
That was so passive aggressive.
It's been a bad pen. Home Sweet Hell.
Nope. Haven't seen that.
Nope.
Really went into the bottom of the barrel.
You sure did.
That's the point. Third movie, The Switch.
Okay. Seen that.
Okay.
No.
No?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
with Jennifer. No, who was that? It was Jason Bateman. Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds. But there was also like Leslie Mann was in it. Keep going.
The fourth movie
Yeah.
is Prometheus.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Things got frisky. And the final movie is Watchmen.
See, I didn't enjoy a Watchmen.
But you saw it. Those 5 again: Stretch,
A lot of them wore masks.
Home Sweet Hell, The Switch, Prometheus, Watchmen.
May I ask you for a clue?
I'll give you male or female. Will that help you?
No, my question was, in the Switch,
Okay.
do they play a prominent role?
I do not remember him in The Switch.
Okay.
I have not seen The Switch in a while.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Same question
But
for
the
Prometheus.
point is for this is
So it's
that
a guy
I
then,
tried
it's
to
a
I
him.
tried to pick.
Yeah, it's a guy.
Because you referred to him as him.
It's a male, guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
That doesn't go into my guesses because I didn't ask.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm trying to pick stuff that they're not prominent in per se, but or if they are prominent in it, just lesser known stuff in general.
Okay. Prometheus, main role or the prominent role anyway. You don't remember him either.
I don't recall, to be honest.
Okay.
I think I know who it is, but I don't remember his name.
Let's talk it out. What do you think?
It's someone we talked about earlier today, which is the idea.
Okay.
I see his face. It's never gonna happen. I'm not good at this. All I know is that
Danny DeVito.
You should describe his features.
I don't know. He's kind of weird looking.
Danny DeVito.
That is incorrect.
Oh, sorry.
At least there was a guess.
Some
Only
random
some,
face.
Yeah, some weird looking guy. Am I correct?
Most people will classify him as handsome. He's probably in his 30s, if I had to guess.
We both guessed incorrectly.
Correct.
The answer is
The answer is Patrick Wilson.
Can you see a picture? I don't even remember what he looks like.
Prometheus. Yeah, don't remember it.
The only one he's really prominent in is Watchmen. I mean, he's like the lead in Stretch and Home Sweet Hell, which are 2 comedies that no one saw that I did.
Okay, then.
All right.
That was a wizard.
A whizzer.
What's your password entered in?
Hey, Joey, what's your phone password?
I'll tell you right after this break.
All right. A song comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. Ryan Gosling,
Oh, God.
everyone's favorite gooseling,
Yes.
was adopted for a short time by the mother of another Mickey Mouse Club star.
Okay.
Who?
I'm gonna need a little more clue. There are a lot of Mickey Mouse Club members. Male or female?
The mother was a female.
The other star.
Allegedly.
The other star, the other star is a male.
Justin Timberlake.
What was the question?
The answer is Justin Timberlake. I locked that in.
I didn't even hear the question.
answer
so
is
I was looking something up.
Just say Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake.
The correct answer is Justin Timberlake.
Oh, nailed it.
It was either him or Brittany or Christina. They're all in the same Mickey
I
Mouse
was
Club
gonna say
together.
Brittany, but then I just heard Mickey Mouse.
That's
Club.
why when he said male.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that then. All right.
Yeah,
These
probably
are
not.
now Oscar related.
Okay.
These 2. Last questions. Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
won an Oscar for The Silence of the Lambs.
That's correct.
I don't think it was a
Oh,
question.
moving on.
Winner. Chicken dinner.
What other 3 movies was he nominated for an Oscar for?
Instinct.
2 leading role, 1 supporting.
Instinct.
Instinct. Incorrect.
You feckless coward.
Yeah, but you kind of. It could have been.
I
why that was
honestly,
the first one
I'm
that came to
sure
mind.
as soon as you say them, I'm gonna know. But
There's been too many.
what I think of is Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins, he's an old guy.
But he's an old
It
guy
definitely
all
wasn't
over.
the
He's
right.
been an old guy for a long time.
The clues I can give you are years, but
Okay.
nothing else comes to mind.
What's the word of the years?
They're all in the 90s.
Okay.
94, 96, 98 are the years of those
Is
Oscars,
this the one with Alec Baldwin and the
which
bear?
would mean the movies were the year before.
What was the one with Alec Baldwin and the bear?
What is that?
I bet you it's one of them. That's all I
Alec
have.
Baldwin and the Bear.
I can you give me one of them?
What?
Give me one of them. Maybe it'll jog my memory on other movies.
I
Because
doubt
all
it.
I'm thinking of is The Right, which he was horrible in.
That's pretty recent, isn't
But
it?
he was the priest or
yeah,
whatever.
I saw that. I guess I can. Which one would you like? 94, 96, or 98?
You dealer's choice.
94, The Remains of the Day.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get any of these.
I don't even know what that is.
All right.
This is me tapping out.
All right. 96, Nixon.
Wait, what's the score?
Nixon?
Do we need a score?
Oh my god.
If I were losing.
It's just all wrong.
Such a great
Except the-
segment leader.
All right.
Such a trivia master.
98, Amistad.
What about it?
That was the other one he was nominated.
Oh, okay.
Which was the point of the question.
Okay. I thought you moved on. I'm sorry.
No.
No, he was reading them all.
All right. Final.
Listen to Brendan.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, final what?
That's the final question.
Final question.
Final question.
Nominated for 8 Oscars.
Uh-huh.
Al
Titanic.
Pacino
Darn.
has 1 win. For what movie? And I have choices.
Okay.
A. The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
B. Scent of a Woman. C. The Godfather Part 2. D. Glengarry Glen Ross.
Scent of a Woman.
Godfather.
Which one?
Do you want to talk it out, or do you want to
I'm
have?
gonna go with the first Godfather.
I think it's Scent of a Woman.
Godfather.
All right. The correct answer is Scent of a Woman.
Oh, thank you.
Damn.
I'd like to thank the Academy. It's a great honor. So I think overall I got most of those right?
Let's see. You got the Ryan Johnson one, the Ryan Gosling one, and the Ryan Pacino one.
3 for 5.
I got 2.
That's 60%. It's good enough to pass most college courses
Don't you just have to get a C?
to transfer.
Oh,
If you want to
That's
transfer.
why you
you
got
need
your
to.
one getting 13 degrees.
I have 10 degrees
Same
and 1
difference.
certificate.
Same difference. Took like 10 years.
Anyway, so that was the end of the.
God, you're so
trivia segment.
decorated.
Yeah.
Should we
you say?
salute him?
You're so decorated.
Okay, so end of that segment. So we're gonna take a break now. I'll be right back with more.
All right, we are back, and for no apparent reason, I have, since January 1st of 2012, have been keeping a list of every single movie that I've watched, just the movie title and the date. And Joey is going to pick a random day, and hopefully it'll land on a day that I watch something. And if not, we'll pick something closest, and we'll talk about it.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So my date for you will be. Let's go with my birthday, 11/2/13.
11/2/13.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
not
a
my
real
birthday.
notebook.
That's
These
not-
are not sound effects, guys.
Yeah, that's actual paper. You don't hear that much these days.
Oh, God. All right. Now we're in 13.
Is
Alright.
it the same
This
notebook?
is
Have you
great
used a
radio.
new notebook?
I did not watch anything on that specific day.
Oh, you probably still have my birthday, right? So is that 10/22? Is it? Is
Guess what? It's the Switch.
Oh my god. Okay.
So tell us about it.
Which I watched on October 22nd of 2013.
So that means you went. How many days is that without watching a movie? That's a lot of days.
It was quite a time. The 22nd to the 5th of November.
I feel like you should have
Jeez.
explained the Price is Right rules on the air.
It's okay.
We're going Price is Right rules.
Apparently, movies can't go over, so that's why we're going to the previous movie and not the closest movie. The closest movie would be the next one, which he
Ender's
was the
Game.
fifth. I love Ender's Game. I just watched it the other day.
We're not allowed to talk about
Anyway, I guess we have to talk about the Switch. And if I'm not wrong, that movie is the one where they do this the sample, right? And they switch
Right.
the sample.
it. This movie involves Jason Bateman jerking off in a bathroom.
Yes, along with who else was with them?
Aniston?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who was the dude? Wasn't there a dude?
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure that he was right there with him? But I thought there was another dude that was with. What's his face?
I don't recall.
Like a friend. I know the change up was when. Was that Jason
isn't
Bateman?
that like the same movie?
That's Jason Bateman and
Let's look it up.
Ryan Reynolds. Well, there's a change ups where he ends up being.
Is that the one where they pee in the fountain?
Yeah.
That's right.
The change ups where he's a friend of Jennifer Aniston and for some reason he becomes the anonymous sperm donor she was looking for.
Right.
She went out to get one and it turned out to be him.
Mhm.
From
No,
what I
he accidentally dropped the tray and then had to fill it back up.
That's right, because he was like drunk at a party or
Yeah.
something
It
like
was
that.
it was a donor party.
Insemination.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah. So he
Party.
there was the sample in the bathroom and he
Turkey baster.
messed up and spilled it, so he filled it up with his specimen, and she used it.
His specimen?
Well, we think she used it because the kid
just
came
insert
out.
it with the turkey baster? I mean, does that work?
The kid came out exactly the same as he did, hypochondriac and all that stuff.
That's right.
I thought it was.
You about WebMD.
I thought it was a good movie. I would have give it a solid 4.
And I think I'm remembering now that Patrick Wilson was Aniston's like new husband, right?
Or he may have been the
something
person
like
she
that.
thought that was
He
sampling.
was supposed to be the donor.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
think
he
he's supposed to be
wants to
the
be the father.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
like a
right.
Bateman. I like a Aniston, and the kid was great.
Bateman's a really one note, but he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, Arrested Development, you can't get any better than that.
Nah, season 4.
Yeah.
Season 4 happened.
You can't get any better than
Season 5 is also
seasons 1
happening.
through 3.
But anyway, that's a TV show. What are we doing?
What's TV?
Someone's trying to get me to watch.
All right. So that was fun, wasn't it? So we have one last segment. After this break, we're going to do a little wrap up segment of things we thought about during the podcast but didn't get to say. So we'll be right back. Alrighty, we're coming to an end here of the first episode of Trailer Trash. Jesus Christ. Do you think I'd be able to know the name of my own podcast?
This is
by
take
now?
2, by the way.
This is take 2. It was much worse the first time. So this is the part where we're just going to have like a last thoughts kind of thing. Stuff we thought about during the podcast, but
Failed to
either
mention.
it was too late to mention it or whatnot. So we have a list here. Let's go down the list here. First item on the list is Kylo Ren. We realized after we talked about Star Wars that we neglected to include Kylo Ren and what we thought about.
Yeah, we didn't
him.
talk about the main bad guy.
We thought about Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. So, Brendan, go ahead.
Did you like his character, just first and foremost?
Did I like Kylo Ren
Yes.
or Adam Driver?
Kylo Ren, yeah.
Yeah, he was a little whiny. I thought a little
Mhm.
too. I know they made that emo Kylo Ren Twitter, and that kind of fit.
Uh-huh.
You know?
It seemed like he was just kind of... He had this power, and he was kind of put in the position to use it without him wanting to, necessarily.
You're talking about when he was training with Luke? Because the implication is that he went away to train with Luke and it went bad.
Right.
So I don't buy that necessarily.
It just doesn't seem like he's happy in his position. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah, he mentioned in the movie that he was conflicted and that he's felt the pull to the light, and I think that Snoke used that to further his own misdeeds.
Right.
So overall, I think he's a pawn, but I believe in the next movie or the episode 9, he'll be a factor in the light side of the Force.
I liked his Darth Vader-y voice. I know you didn't.
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be something like that. It's, it's just the Star Wars
The thing
way.
with I think Darth Vader's voice was a practical effect, and they did it. It sounded like they did it through like a cone or something, and
Like
this
this-
one is too digital.
And it had no meaning to it, really.
Right. There was no other than he was trying to mimic his grandfather.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert.
You can say trying to mimic, but when Vader's mask comes off in 6, and Skywalker's actually like talking to him, his voice is relatively normal. You would think the injuries that he sustained would have made it so that the voice box that Vader uses I don't know how to explain this. The voice box that Vader uses makes it so that that's how his voice kind of is. You know what I mean?
Right. So it sounds like a practical effect.
Right.
Like he's talking through a voice box. No digitalization. This one sounded created
Right.
by a computer.
Created for no reason, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, I think that if
I like
he
it,
wanted
but I
to
don't
pay
think it... Yeah.
homage to Darth Vader,
Uh-huh.
then one of the ways you do that is a mask and a voice. And I think that they tried to do that in the film. So then the next item on our list is the fact that Mel Gibson is not hosting the Golden Globes. He is a presenter.
Right.
So Ricky Gervais is actually hosting the Golden Globes, which he's done in the past, and he's gonna do a fine job.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a funny man.
But yeah, Mel Gibson's presenting, in an article I read, it said that he was to be the butt of Ricky Gervais' jokes.
Right.
At least one. So
I don't know why we thought Mel Gibson would host. That seems like a bad idea. but
yeah,
alright.
yeah,
Seems like a great idea.
yeah. I mean, it seems like the best idea, honestly.
All right.
I don't
So
understand why he's not.
right, I actually liked that better than I liked the idea of Ricky Gervais doing it.
Say that
I
again?
like Ricky Gervais. I have no problem with Ricky Gervais.
All right.
But I think a Mel Gibson-driven machine would have been viewed more if you're going for ratings.
True, but I think it'll probably get views anyway.
Okay.
So next item down, I just wanted to mention from the previous segment, so y'all have an area of reference, is that I've seen 769 movies up to today, between January 1st of 2012 and today.
So over the past 4 years and 4 days.
Yeah.
5
so
days.
when we get to around episode 769, we're gonna look for a new segment.
Yeah, or hopefully he'll be watching new movies. Since
Nope,
then.
I've stopped.
Okay. All right. So, so another thing we talked about that we didn't really.
Nothing that we saw.
We kind of talked in the first segment when we reviewed the movies we've seen recently. We kind of skipped over a movie we both really loved and
Yeah.
probably will get a lot of Oscar noms, and that's Creed. Creed, the Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Anthony Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. Where did Anthony come from?
I have no idea.
Susan B. Anthony probably is where I got that from.
Why?
So Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone in the seventh Rocky movie.
I believe it's the seventh one.
Oh, it's not. It's not a Rocky movie. It's in that universe.
It's a spin-off, but it's the seventh in that. Yeah.
I thought it was really well made, and it was really great. I'm not even a fan of the Rocky series. I haven't seen any of them,
I'm sorry, what?
but
You're
I thought
you're not even
Stallone.
American.
I thought Stallone was great. He mumbled a little bit, but that's what I expect from Stallone.
Right.
And
I don't think that's character. I think that's just how he talks.
the
now.
other dude was great.
The other dude,
Yeah.
Michael B. Anthony Jordan.
Yes.
Question about that
Susan
movie,
Michael
though.
B. Anthony Jordan.
Can I ask you a question
About
that
what,
movie?
Creed?
Creed. Okay.
Yes.
So I've seen all the Rocky movies.
Okay.
How do they just bring the son back and he doesn't know who he was, even though him and Apollo Creed were like besties?
I will answer that question. In the movie, Michael B. Jordan plays. His name was Adonis.
Right.
He didn't have Creed. He was Adonis. Do you remember what it was? Johnson or something. He was born after Apollo died, and he was a product of an affair Apollo had during his marriage.
I can't do that.
And his Apollo's ex-wife came and adopted him because he was in boys' homes and all that stuff, and he grew up with Apollo's ex-wife
Did you
as a
talk
mom.
to him that whole entire time? His friends
Apollo
were like-
Creed died.
I understand that, but you don't like keep in touch. Like, hey, how you doing? I know your husband's
No,
dead
she
and
didn't
all.
want him in that world, although he kind of found it himself. He knew that he was Apollo Creed's son. She told him when she adopted him
I mean, Rocky. How did Rocky not know though?
because they hadn't talked.
I find that the
Apollo
stretch-
Creed's ex-wife
stretch.
and
Rocky just went
Rocky-
on to manage his Italian restaurant.
Yep. And when
Italian restaurant, but it ended with him managing a boxing ring.
okay, so in this movie he owned a Italian restaurant, Adrian's Cafe or Deli, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And when Michael B. Anthony was really serious about training, he found Rocky and said, "You know, this is me. This is who I am. Come train me, Unc."
If you haven't seen like all the Rocky movies, though, that's not a natural progression.
It was a really good movie.
And while that might be true,
So if it's as a standalone, it's a good movie. But if you add it to the series, it's probably
perhaps they were searching for something else they could do with it. Yes, but this movie was
right. So they're just
rather
like, hey, We're
enjoyable.
gonna forget all this other shit, and we're gonna make up our own shit and make this movie.
Sure. It was one of the most enjoyable movies I've seen in a while.
Yeah, Spotlight we saw before, that was really great. But
Spotlight was great. I wouldn't say it was necessarily enjoyable.
I thought you said it was really good though.
it was really good. This
But
movie was
enjoyable is different. Like Spotlight was not fun, is what I mean.
Right.
I would say that this movie has more elements of fun and enjoyment in it.
although it was very serious.
Right.
But it wasn't just it wasn't as serious as priests molesting children like Spotlight.
Right. Which was also great.
Yep.
So yeah, Creed, loved it a lot. I'd probably give it 4.5.
Oh, that's a 5-star movie for me.
All right,
Five,
I don't give a
alright.
lot of 5s out.
That's a 5 for Brendan. 4.5. Anyway, so that's basically what we have. Like I said before, we'll try to put as much relevant information, links anyway, to relevant information in the description, depending on where we put this podcast up at. And do we have an email yet?
We don't have an email. We have a Twitter though.
Twitter is
TrailerPod.
@TrailerPod, and we have a Facebook.
Yes, and I believe the link to that is also the same. Facebook.com/TrailerPod.
Okay, and we're
If that's wrong, I'm sorry.
we're hoping to get an email going up pretty soon. It'll probably be something like TrailerPod at Gmail, most likely gmail.com.
And get an actual website going.
Yeah, we're gonna try to figure out how to register a domain and all that sweet stuff. So
MySpace, we're definitely gonna get a MySpace.
Yep.
That's right.
Maybe I just retool mine. I
Uh-huh.
can log into mine, change the
Right.
name.
Maybe we can use Cassie's.
Yeah.
All
Until then,
You don't have the password, neither do I.
we can find it.
How?
I know nerds.
You know them, or you are one?
Probably both. Probably
not.
most likely. Until then, reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerpod. Leave us a message. Let us know what you think. And suggestions are always great for movies to review and for trailers to watch. Let us know if you want us to do any of that stuff. So thank you, and goodbye from Joey.
And goodbye from Brendan.
Cassie, say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay.
All right, see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.